So what's up, Alexander? How are you?
Yeah, fine. Doing great. Just happy to be on the podcast here and able to try and promote myself and this is a good platform to do so. So thank you.
No worries. Thanks a minute for coming on. I do appreciate it. And on fairly short notice as well. We were only got in contact there yesterday, and it's happening today.
Yeah,
Sometimes it takes me a couple of weeks to get something sorted with people. So this one's quick.
yeah. Hopefully it goes well. So
Yeah. It's like you were just saying there before we came on. You have a fight in 2 weeks. That was fairly short notice as well, actually. I think, wasn't it?
yeah, that was only finalised last week or earlier this week. But it's just I really wanted to have one more amateur fight because I have 29 amateur fights. And I really wanted to just have one more just because I haven't fought since last November in the IMMAFs. So I'd love to get one more fight in, kind of get that ring rust out of the way. And also, it's a really nice round number, 30 fights, and then go pro in 2021. So I was really looking forward to fighting this year, and I've had a few cancellations due to the COVID situation. And it'd be really nice if Clan Wars actually goes ahead and I get to have a scrap then in December and then go into 2021 fresh off a fight. So that's the plan anyway.
Yeah. So it's definitely after this one, you're going to go pro.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, definitely 30 fights is it's a really nice. I think it's a really nice round number and have all the experience ready to go and start trying to make a run at the pro game and see how it goes. So yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. 30 fights. It's a lot. It's a lot for amateur, isn't it? Is that I think somebody else on the podcast. I think it was, who was it now? I can't remember who it was. Said that I think you have the most amateur fights in Ireland. Is that right? Is that right?
I might do. Yeah, I definitely haven't really put it to the test or checked, but I definitely have one of the most that I know of anyway. Yeah, 29 fights at the moment. I think Kieran Clark before he went pro from SBG.
Yeah.
He had somewhere in the 20s as well. So I don't know if he had 29. I'm not sure if he had as much as me, but it'd be similar. So I think he might be the second most, or I might be the most amateur fights. I think so anyway.
Yeah. Is there a particular reason? Like, was it just you were trying chasing the IMAF titles, kind of why you stayed amateur for so long?
Mainly just because I was young, so I started doing MMA, competing full MMA rules when I was 16. So I was that's why I've been able to get those fights in. And because I was so young, I never really felt like I really needed to push to go pro because I have this kind of I still have a lot of years ahead of me. Hopefully, the longevity in the sport, and also I didn't really feel like I needed to push. So I wanted to make sure I have my whole skill set as well rounded and as effective as possible before I go pro, so that I have the best chance to win when I do go pro. So basically, I just kept taking these amateur fights. The IMAFs are great. They're a great format to get lots of fights in because they're tournament based. You fight every day. You fight once, fight the next day. If you win, fight the next day after. So you can really rack up a lot of fights through that format. So that's one of the reasons why I ended up having so many fights, and also because I started so young. So I'm 22 now, and 30 fights. I'll definitely be going pro. That's it.
Yeah. Like you said, you started MMA. Where did your kind of martial art journey start? Was it were you quite young, were you as well?
Oh yeah, I started on the first martial art I did was actually judo when I was 9. I got involved in a judo club in my area, and I'm a blue belt in judo when I stopped training. I did boxing then from 11. I started boxing when I was 11, and then basically so that was a great start, I think, for MMA because I had a grappling art, a traditional grappling art in judo, and I had a striking art then doing boxing. So I had a good few boxing fights. I boxed in the All Irelands and the Dublin and the leagues when I was in my teens, and I stopped doing both boxing and judo. I stopped doing competing competitively in both of them sports when I was about 15 or 16. When I was 15 and 16, I then had some K1 fights. I think I had 6 K1 fights. I won a belt in K1 when I was 16, ISK belt on Infusion, and that was my last. That was my last K1 fight as far as I remember. And I had one more actually after. But after that, then I just went full MMA. I combined those skills. Basically, I did the K1 to try and get the kicking game going, the kicks and knees, to combine the punches that I had picked up from boxing and the grappling that I'd done from judo. Obviously, training jiu-jitsu as well MMA. So yeah, since then I've just been focusing on MMA really, and yeah, that's how I got into it. And I've been fighting since then fairly consistently. Like I've had 30 fights. So yeah, that's it. That's the journey so far.
Yeah, it's quite similar actually to Ian Gary. He has a kind of background in judo, boxing, and then kind of got into his teens, went into MMA. So it's kind of
Yeah,
a
I didn't even
similar.
know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fair play. Yeah,
He had said. I think he said he started with boxing and then kind of fell out of love with that, and then went to judo, and then went to
yeah,
MMA. Which I suppose you kind of nearly went the opposite way around, but still, it's
yeah. Do the way around it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
but I think it's a good base. I think even like for him in his last professional fight, like he wasn't like he was able to defend the takedown so well with judo. It's not something I suppose that gets you see a lot of really people coming from, like I know obviously like Ronda Rousey and some people like that in UFC have had a judo background, but there isn't that many that kind of jump out.
Yeah,
But it's definitely useful.
yeah. There isn't that many. I feel like a lot of people focus more on the wrestling side of things for their takedowns and defense. But judo is a great sport for especially I think doing it early. You know, it's more difficult I think to pick up judo techniques when you're older because it's some of them they feel awkward to do. But once you have them in your muscle memory from a young age, I find I can still do judo techniques, throws in my MMA fights and in sparring and stuff. Whereas if I learned them later, I wouldn't be able to utilize them as well. So it's definitely a great sport I think to get into when you're younger, and it's a great sport to build uh, off because it gives you a lot of core strength, and it's it's all disciplined, and it's great tournament format and stuff. It's very it's big in Ireland. You know, there's lots of events. I used to fight in judo competitions quite a lot when I was younger. So yeah, it's a great sport to start in, and definitely it has helped me in my MMA career big time. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you said you're a blue belt. How close to black belt is that? Like, what's the kind of ranking system, or in terms of belt?
So
What's the order?
after blue and judo, it's brown and black. I think there's a few levels of brown, and then you're black belt, and you have to fight for them. So you have to win in like grading ceremonies, um, to get the belt. You have to score points against other fighters who are of the belt or above that belt. So if you're fighting, if you want your brown belts, you need to score points against other brown belts and stuff like that in competition. So it's pretty competitive. I never tried to do it just because at the time I got my blue belt when I was 15 or 16. I stopped competing in judo and focused on MMA. So I never got around to getting my brown and black belt. But I always said that I wanted it, but I still haven't. So it might be something I'll do in the future. But we'll see.
Yeah. So then, like, did you do any other sports when you would have been growing up, or were you strictly like martial arts? Was that always the journey you were on?
No, actually, I did play rugby at the same time. I was playing rugby in Kilmoyne, the place, a local club where I am. I just played that for a few years, from about 9 to 14 or something. And it's same idea really. I just stopped doing it to focus on MMA and the combat sports I was doing. But yeah, I enjoyed rugby. You know, obviously played a little bit of football as well. I think everyone's played a bit of football. You know, it was an Irish child. But yeah, that's it. That's about it. Really, I really have been involved in combat sports for a long time. My dad's been involved in most of this combat sports I've been doing. Dino, so he's been a big influence on me. So that's probably why. And he runs the MMA gym that I eventually combined those skills in. He was also my boxing coach as well. So I combined those skills and then went into MMA fully when I was 16, and he's been my coach since then. You know, so that's the way it is.
Was he involved with judo as well, or was it just the boxing?
No, he wasn't involved in judo. He wasn't. He was in. He was my boxing coach as well, but not in the judo. No, his dad is a big big boxing official, and that's how he got involved in boxing originally. So my granddad, he passed away last year, and so we have this boxing like kind of history, kind of boxing buzz in the household. So we always had that in common, and then now it's taken us into MMA, and you know that's great. Like, so it's great to have a family that's so supportive and interested in what I'm doing. You know, my sister competes as well. Koya, she's fought in the IMMAFs as well at a junior level, and she's had K1 fights and judo fights as well. And my mother as well. Deborah. She's a cut woman on the shows, and she also fought in the IMMAFs a few years back. So it's great to just have that around, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand what you have to go through as a fighter, you know, with the weight cuts and the amount of training you have to put in. Some people, like, you know, it's hard to understand how much you have to actually commit to this sport. But my family, you know, understand because they've done it themselves. So it's a big, it's a really big bonus, I think, for me personally. Like they understand what I'm going through all the time.
Yeah, that's class that everybody in the family has been involved. But like I said, massive help. Like, but your man being like, you don't see many women like corner women, do you? Like, it's not really something you kind of associate. That's class as well.
Yeah, it is. She just she got into it there with Joseph Clifford, the cut man, and she's been working with him for the last few years on his team. So she's been over and cutting in the IMMAFs as well. Even the ones, so she fought on one IMMAF, and since then she's been back over most of the time doing cut work. So yeah, she's always been over there abroad, and that's why she understands like what I have to go through. You know, all traveling around fighting and stuff like that. It's a good atmosphere. You know, it's a good vibe.
So does everybody leave to go to the gym at the same time then during the day? Pack up the
usually, yeah. At some stage, yeah, we'll mostly be leaving to go to the gym. Yeah, that's it. It's a daily routine. Yeah, it's good. It's a good vibe, yeah, all around.
Yeah, that can help as well because you can't be the one saying, "I'm not going," then because it's like, fucking
exactly.
going.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no lack of motivation when you have, you know, everyone's packing up to go to the gym together. You know, it's not like you can just hang around. You know, so yeah, it pushes me all the time. Even like my little sister, you know, she's training very hard and getting very good. She's nearly 18 now and ready to really, you know, try and take the amateur scene by storm. And you know, she's just doing really well at the moment, and I look forward to seeing where her career takes her and coaching her. And I do that myself as well. So we have this nice family vibe going on, and it really helps, I think, to push me, and it's going to help my pro career definitely.
Yeah. Do you find you get more nervous for when she fights? Because I know, like myself, my background's taekwondo, and my sister is on the trains as well, and will be on the Irish taekwondo team as well. And I nearly get more nervous watching her fighting and competing, and than I do for myself. And it's hard because like you can't control what they do in the ring. Like, do you find anything like similar like that?
Yeah, I do. Exactly. You know, when you're going into the cage yourself, it's on you. Like, you know, you can influence it, the result. But when she's going in, you know, now it's up to her, and yeah, it can be quite stressful. You know, you're hoping that she does well and she's, you know, okay. But I have a lot of faith in her because I know she's quite skilled, and you know, she trains a lot, so I'm usually pretty confident that she'll do well. But she just be quite nervous about me fighting as well. So it's, you know, I understand. It's understandable. It's just the way it is. You know, there's always nerves involved in fighting, but it's good. It's a good, like I say, it's good to have family members who understand the whole, you know, the essence of the sport and what we have to go through as fighters. And you know, sometimes it's not easy, but you know, it's all we love to do. So yeah, it's all good, really, to be honest.
Yeah, especially with things like weight cuts, because like, you know, exactly. when you get to the end, and nobody's nice to be around when you get towards the end, and if people don't understand that, then it's hard when people don't understand. So it's good that you have, like I said, you have people around you that understand that when you're feeling a bit touchy, that it's because you're close to the end of making weight.
Yeah, that's it. They understand. Like I say, other people, they don't understand that you're right at the end, and it's you know, you can be a bit angsty, and it's not the best time to be around. But like I say, my family understands, so they you know, it is a bonus, I think, anyway.
Yeah. Would you be somebody who cuts much weight? Do you cut a lot of weight, or do you sit fairly close to it?
I haven't really done many big weight cuts, to be honest, or any big weight cuts really, because like I say, I was quite young when I started fighting MMA, so my father always said, you know, no big weight cuts, you know, stuff like this. When as an amateur, as a young fighter, you know, anything that could like damage my health. So mostly just trying to get in there at a weight that's, you know, suitably close, but not going to put any danger on my body as an amateur and as a you know, a young man. But yeah, as I go pro now, you know, I'm gonna have to be looking more at getting all the nutritional stuff right, and getting my weight down, getting the right perfect weight to give me the best chance to win, basically. Because you know, at the end of the day, as a professional, like, winning becomes a little bit more important than amateur. Like, as an amateur fighter, 29 fights, I've picked up a lot of experience, and it wasn't really about winning completely. It's mostly about learning and improving my skill set throughout all my fights, making sure that I'm constantly improving. But as a pro now, I need to actually, I need to make sure that I'm going into fights and with a game plan, with a strategy to win, and building a solid pro record up for to get on one of those big promotions, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I suppose like that when you turn pro, the slate is wiped clean. I suppose you're 0-0 again. So
yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
And I suppose even like the fact you said like you don't cut much weight is a big help when it comes to something like the IMAFs, and you're having to make weight a couple of days in a row and compete a couple of days in a row.
Yeah, it is a very different experience. That because like you'll have fought say on the Monday, and you'll have to you can't even celebrate the same way. You'll be obviously you'll be extremely happy that you won, but you need to just get right back on the saddle, go back into the the sauna or whatever, cut out that little bit you might have gained from drinking water that morning, or eating too much for breakfast, and get it back down, just that little few, maybe a kilo or so. But yeah, it's not the same as another fight. You have to stay on it and then be prepared to fight the next day. And then if you win that, then it's on again. You have to keep your weight down. That's why you have to fight at a weight in the IMMAF that's close to your walking weight. Because you can't consistently make that weight cut. Like you can't do consistent big workouts over there. It just wouldn't be sustainable. So it's mostly you're trying to trim yourself down to where you can still walk at the weight, and then fight for 3, 4, 5 days even. So it's a great format. Like you pick up a lot of experience, I think, because you fight guys. So if you're fighting just in Ireland, even Ireland and England, a lot of fighters you fight have similar enough styles because of the way we train MMA over here in Ireland, and even in England and Scotland and Wales. But sometimes you'll be fighting, like I fought Russians, Kazakhstanis, Swiss guys, Italian guys, Swedish guys, Romanian guys. I fought a lot of different nationalities, American guys I fought in the IMAX. So you're picking up all these different kind of styles. Some of them are slightly different in their approach, like to fighting, than you would get in Ireland. So it's great to pick this up early as an amateur, because when you go pro, then you're going to be fighting abroad more. You're going to be fighting these guys from Russia and Kazakhstan and the US and stuff when you go onto these bigger shows. So I think the IMAX is definitely has been very beneficial to me, and I think it will definitely stand to me when I go pro then next year.
Yeah, like that. You're somebody like with all the fights you have, and like you have a good, I suppose, mix between the IMAFs and the Saturday night kind of show kind of style, the more what you would expect in the pros. Do you have a preference? Like, do you prefer the IMAF kind of style of events? I suppose even like a lot of the amateur fights would be in front of crowds, where maybe the IMAF ones are, the crowds maybe aren't as big. It's much more, I suppose, tournament and competition feel, as opposed to the Saturday night ones and a fight night kind of feel. Do you have a preference to which one you prefer?
To be honest, I'm not really sure which one I actually prefer. Like I do like both, fighting both of them. There is like an appeal to the Saturday night crowd vibe that gives you the atmosphere. You've got support on both sides, and it builds it up. And so I do enjoy that as well. I really do. But I also enjoy the fact that tournament format where there's no big, like, the pressure doesn't feel as much, because you're warming up and your opponent's usually warming up somewhere near you, even, because it's just all together. There's loads of nationalities there. When you go out to fight, there's no one really there to support you, because everyone's there from their own countries and they're interested in their own fighters. The Ireland team, the Irish team that I've been over with the 4 times I've been away, they've always been really solid, like really got on really well. I think the Irish team is a cool atmosphere. But most of the time they'll be in the crowd and they'll be cheering you on. But even so, that's only usually 10, 20 people who are there. So it isn't quite the same as the Saturday night team. But the support's always there. It's still there anyway. I think the Irish team is it. So I've always enjoyed the vibe going away with the Irish team. It's been cool. But yeah, the Saturday night shows are more like that pro format, like that you will be fighting in. So I definitely think it's very useful to get that in as well, because it is a different environment. There's different nerves involved, having everyone there just to see you, and the music and the lights and all that. It's a different vibe, and it is more like the pro game. So I definitely think there's advantages to both formats, and I've luckily enough been able to do a lot of both. So yeah, I think it will stand to me, like I was saying.
Yeah. It is a weird feel, isn't it? Like when you're warming up next to the person that you're going to be just going in and competing against. Because like
Yeah,
that, obviously, like in my background with Taekwondo, like it's all like you'd have 3, 4, 5 fights on the same day. So like it is that. So and it's not only that the person you're going to have to fight first, but the person you could be going against in the next round could be warming up there as well. And there's
yeah,
just there's always just a tension in the air, like isn't there?
yeah. I
I
actually,
suppose even to some degree that can be make or break that tension. You know, like you either like thrive on it or you kind of you shy away from it. But I myself, as times like I've started to, I suppose, enjoy it. I think there's just a great little tension that's in the air when you're warming up next to the person you're going like out against.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I don't really mind it too much. They'll be there warming up. But I was used to it even from doing boxing years ago. It's kind of like that as well. You know, you're fighting in the ringside club in the leagues and stuff in the Dublins. Usually your opponent is floating around somewhere warming up as well. You know, so I was used to that anyway. But I do, yeah, I don't mind it. I even the last time I was out there, I ended up trying to just sweating out the last half a kilo or whatever that I was over from. I was going to make weight the next morning and fight. And my opponent ended up, he was just, me and him were just in the sauna together. And we ended up talking. And, I was trying to suss out his game and all. And he was trying to suss out mine. But it was all friendly, like, and then we ended up fighting the next day. And I armbarred him. And he had told me, like, that he was a striker. So I don't know, like, I don't know if that was a smart move. But yeah, it's an interesting vibe. I enjoy it. Like, it's all very, I think everyone, all the countries are very, well behaved and everyone gets on pretty well. I think so. Yeah, I do enjoy it. I even like seeing my opponent warming up. Trying to pick up little movements that they might be doing that you can try and exploit. And then you're wondering if they're watching you, and so it just adds a little bit to it. I don't mind it too much. But I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, like you said though, like you're looking to see what you can pick up, but some other people might look at that and nearly go, "Well, geez, he looking sharp there now. I don't want to fight him." Do you know what I mean? It can go the other way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
good that
yeah. Of
you're
course,
going
yeah,
right. Yeah, it's good that you're going the right way. I
yeah,
suppose approaching it,
yeah.
because it could definitely go the other way. Well, but you haven't just turned up to these IMAF events either. Like, have you? Like, you're medaling. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Two bronze medals and a silver. Is that?
It's actually
Right?
three bronze medals and one
Three bronze.
silver. Yeah. So I my first time after I did in 2016, it was in Prague. Yeah, Czech Republic, and I was fighting at lightweight for that one. I was barely even lightweight. I didn't go anyway. I was just walking at it. So I went over there, and that was good. I won two fights to get me into the semis, and I was beaten by the eventual winner, a Bulgarian guy. So I picked up the bronze there for getting to the semis. So that was good. Then the next one I was at was Bahrain. Then 2 years ago in 2018. So that was when they brought in the junior categories then. So the junior categories are from 18 to 21. But there was no junior category when I first fought in Prague. So I fought as a senior, but I'd only just gone 18, just away because there was no junior category. So I picked up a senior bronze there in Prague when I was 18. And then when I went to Bahrain, there was junior categories, but I was still under 21. I was only 20, I think. So yeah, I picked up a bronze there, got beaten by the eventual winner in the semis again. So a bit of a rerun of the same thing. Another wrestler, he's great, a Russian wrestler, great wrestling, and he just kept taking me down, so I couldn't get my game going, and he managed to win, and then he won in the final similarly. So my next event, then next IMMAF, I got a silver in Rome the following summer in the European Championships, the IMMAF Europeans. That was it. That was good. So I was once again I was a junior there because I was still under 21, and won 2 fights. Three fights, and I went to the final, and I fought a Kazakhstani, really really good Kazakhstani lad, and I lost a split decision. It was quite close. Made a few mistakes and stuff. He was very good for it. So that was unfortunate. I would have liked to get the gold that time, to come away with one gold from the IMAFs at least, but I got the silver unfortunately. I was happy enough with my performance. Made a few mistakes, and it makes me better in the future. That's what I was thinking. Win or learn is one of those things, but I always try to learn as much as I can. Then my last time I fought Bahrain this time last year, senior. This time a senior because I was 21. So a senior featherweight world championships. I won 2 fights, and then I lost against another Kazakh, actually a different Kazakh fighter this time, in a close fight. It was another decision in the semis, and got a bronze. So yeah, that's my career. I've medalled at all 4 of my IMMAFs. So that's I think that's a good achievement. You know, it shows a good bit of consistency. You know, it shows that I can always hang with the guys in there. That I can always get to the podium. Just never managed to get that gold. So that's something I'll have to go into my pro career. I'm gonna have to, you know, make sure I get that gold, get those belts when I go pro. That's the plan, anyway.
Yeah. I suppose you said, like it says, it does show consistency. Like, it wasn't that you turned up to one and got a lucky draw and got to the medals. It's consistently fighting different people across a period of time and constantly picking up wins.
Yeah, I fought a lightweight and I fought a featherweight across two different weights. I've always medalled. So yeah, I think I did show that I can hang there with some of the top athletes in amateur MMA, because they are definitely some of the top athletes in amateur MMA compete in the IMMAFs. A lot of guys from the IMMAFs who were champions in the IMMAFs have gone on to do really well at pro. Some are in the UFC at the moment doing well. I think even Pierre Yan, the bantamweight champ, I think he was an IMMAF champ at some stage. And so yeah, some have gone on to do really big things, and it is a high level over there. And I've always managed to medal, so that's one of my proudest accomplishments, I think, in MMA. The fact that I've represented Ireland 4 times and came home with a medal every time. So yeah, that's definitely probably my biggest achievement, I would say, in MMA so far. Hopefully, many more to come in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the IMAPs, like you said, they show the level that are there, but I think it's going to continue to grow. I think you'll see more people coming out of the IMAP events and going on to do really well in pro MMA and doing well and getting to the UFC and be UFC champions.
Yeah.
Like, I think the level all the time is growing whenever you watch.
Yeah, big time. The level of the IMAFs actually improved every year. That's what I found. Like I managed to medal every year, but every year I knew it was going to be tougher than the last year. It was getting bigger. There was more athletes, more countries coming in that might not been in previously. I think when in Prague at that time, Russia wasn't involved, Kazakhstan wasn't involved, and then by Bahrain, Russia and Kazakhstan had come in, and they just got these great fighters coming in from those 2 countries and other countries. China, I think, might have joined, and it wasn't in earlier on us. So yeah, the level is always increasing, and that's another reason why I'm particularly proud of always medaling, because even though the levels kind of stepped up those few rungs, I found with the new fight, with it's larger and there's more nations involved, I've always managed to be on that podium. So yeah, I think that kind of stands to the fact that I've been improving throughout my amateur career, and I'm ready to go pro now. Basically, that's what I try to take from it, you know.
Yeah. But even then, like, away from that, I suppose, like, you've fought guys like, I suppose maybe like, or you fought like someone like Lee Hammond, and that I suppose he's well known for being associated with SPG, and even like you fought Jack McGuire as well, isn't it? And he's on Cage Warriors as a pro at the moment. So like, like good fights outside even the IMAFs there as well. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
big time. Yeah, like before I was on the IMAFs, for my first IMAF, I went to Prague in 2016. I think I was already 10, and in my record was 10-2 when I went to my first IMAF. So I'd already had 12 fights on the local circuit. I've had my first 4 fights in Ireland. You know, these shows like Ryotion and Rumble and Rush and stuff that used to exist, but don't really haven't run for a few years. And then I won a few titles up, and on the regional circuit I won a title on Chaos, a show up north, and I won I won the Akuma bantamweight title. I went to England. I won the Shinobi bantamweight title, and then I won the Adrenaline title. That's a Welsh show. I also won the Headhunters title. That's a Scottish show. Yeah, I actually have a title in the trade in all those countries. So then I defended one of the titles just before I went to my first IMAX, and I ended up losing a close decision, and they kind of put me in check a little bit, because I've been winning all these titles and racking up wins really quickly, and you know, you can get ahead of yourself and start to think like, oh, maybe, you know, I'll just go pro now. I'm only 18, but maybe I'll just go pro and straight away. But it was good that I had that check, because I needed to improve areas of my game, So I ended up going to the IMMAF doing well, and then my next fight after the IMMAF was with Hammond, and he armbarred me in the first round. He's he's a great fighter, and it made me really focus on my grappling, my nogi grappling aspect of it, and I did a lot of grappling. I entered a lot of tournaments, and I've won fights with submissions much more since then, because I've really focused on it. So I've definitely improved that aspect of my game. So like that loss to Lee, is really stood to me in the end, because it's made me recognize flaws in my game that I needed to improve. Also, even the wrestlers in the IMAFs that I've usually lost to being taken down, and because I've only been stopped by Lee, so usually I lose. I lose. My losses have been decisions where I've been on my back too much, and the wrestlers usually on top. Winning that aspect of the game, and the judges, they have to go with that. So there's no complaints, but I need to be able to not get taken down. So that's something I've really looked to address in my game recently. That was Jack McGuire. He's fighting on cage wires now. He looked really good in his last fight. He was the same. He took me down, and he stayed on top. So I need to address that, and I've been really looking to improve my wrestling over the last 2 years or so, and fighting against the Russians and the Kazakhs in the IMAFs gives me a good test to see if I have improved, and I feel like I have. That's definitely an area where I've been working on, and hopefully it will show when I turn pro that it won't be, my wrestling's going to be improved, my grappling's going to be improved, my striking is always improving as well. So I'm just rounding out my entire game through these 29 fights. They're going to be hopefully 30 now next in December. So that's it. That's basically what I've been doing. What I've been picked up off the regional circuit and the IMAF international circuit as well. So yeah, I think my amateur career has been pretty ideal to place me for as a in a great position going pro now, and hopefully being successful. That's the goal.
Yeah, I think that's but I think that's a really good example there, that of having an amateur career, because like you said, before you even went to the IMAFs, you were 10-2. Most people would nearly are turning pro at that stage, once they get 10, 11, 12 fights and they're going pro. Whereas I think maybe you might be a good example to extend that out a bit, especially if you're young. There's potentially no need to rush. Yeah, exactly. Take the time to learn and build the experience of stepping into the cage, because it's ring time and mat time as well as what's needed a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I say, I was nearly, there's when I was 10-2 and I'd won belts on the circuit, on the regional circuit, I was thinking, the pro game there, thinking about going pro and all, but I was only 18, maybe just 19, just got 19, and I was so young that I have the time, I think, to take a step back and improve aspects of my game, rather than going pro and then losing there, where it's more important, where the result is much more important than amateur. Because at the end of the day, like you said earlier, when I go pro now, it's going to clean slate back to oh no. So it doesn't matter about these 30 fights so much result wise, they're going to get wiped clean. But so their ideal, I think, to continue fighting as an amateur. That was the idea, to continue fighting as an amateur until I felt like my game was like I say, well rounded, and have all the bases covered, and I'm improving all the time. So that's basically why I decided to stay amateur and keep pursuing the IMMAF gold, and just fights in Ireland as well whenever they pop up. So yeah, racked up 29, going hopefully be 30 now. If this Clan Wars goes ahead, hopefully it does next month. So yeah, like I say, I think it was a smart move, just because I was so young. Sometimes if you're a bit older, you might need to make a run for it earlier. You might need to make a run for the pro game earlier, in case that you miss your opportunities or whatever. But I'm just gone 22, so I'm still young enough, I think, that like I say, all the amateur will stand to me, and I'll be able to make a run at the pro game then next year.
And the fact that your family are involved, did they impact your decision to stay amateur as well? Do you think maybe if they weren't involved and you were kind of it was just you were the only one in the house nearly who knew anything about MMA, and do you think you were deciding for yourself, or they didn't really know what the story was?
Yeah.
You think you would have been pro sooner, or the fact that they know what the setup is, that they kind of help influence your decision to stay amateur for a bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I say, as an 18-year-old, just gone 19 or whatever, before I went to my first IMMAFs, I was you know, you're young and impetuous, and you think that oh, maybe I'll just run, like maybe I'll be in the UFC next year if I just turn pro, I'll just bash everyone. So it's nice having people that actually know about MMA, and my father, who was my coach, and my mother, who was also my coach and a co-woman, and has fought herself. Uh, there as like to check that and say, hold on, you're only 18, 19. You've got loads more stuff to improve. You've got loads more time to work on this stuff. There's no rush. Take your time, get all these fights in, learn all the things you can, and then go pro when you're ready. So yeah, they definitely did influence that decision. That's one of the reasons why I have so many fights as an amateur and feel so confident going pro now. Feel so well prepared, was because my family are so closely involved with my fighting.
Yeah. So do you have kind of a plan, I suppose, for when you go pro? Is there like a route you want to take? That do you want to go maybe to Cage Warriors and then try and get to the UFC, or is it maybe you want to go to Bellator? Is there a particular route that you think you're going to try and take?
To be honest, I haven't decided on one yet. The particular route, I've looked at the routes. I see that Cage Warriors, and then they have sent something like over 100 fighters have gone from Cage Warriors to the UFC. So that's one route that definitely seems like a route. I think Reese McKee was the last, or one of the recent ones that went to the UFC from Cage Warriors, but from Ireland. But there's loads of them that have done it recently. So that's definitely a route. And then obviously Bellator as well is it's a huge promotion, and some of the Irish lads are doing really well on doing really well on Bellator. Then there's also so that's another route as well. I haven't really decided yet. I'm going to be thinking about more, talking to my father and other people, and deciding about that next year. But there's a lot of other shows. There's Brave. There's another big show that some Irish fighters have fought on and done well on as well. There's even one then in the Asian show that's a really highly skilled, really high level. Has some Demetrius Johnson and stuff has gone over there. Some of the top fighters in the world are fighting for one at the moment. So there is a few options. I haven't really picked one and settled for that yet. So I'm keeping my options open at the moment. But yeah, they're all there. So I'll be doing one of them anyway. So yeah. I haven't decided yet.
Would you say the ultimate goal though is the UFC?
It's probably the pinnacle of MMA competition. So at the end of the day, it probably is the place to be. So if I can prove that I belong at that level, and I have the skills to get me there, I'll be there one day. That's the plan anyway. I'd say so.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, like I suppose it's a big thing that you nearly need to hope that I suppose that like COVID potentially goes away, because I know like a lot of like people who are looking to commit, like I said, all those promotions are running shows, but they're the people they're giving fights to the people who are signed already. To some degree, you need to get rid of this COVID shit and get the new people, and get some amateurs up into the shows as well.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I think even Cage Warriors, they've managed to do the trilogy show earlier this year, and I think they're trying to do one in December as well, another show, which is good that they've managed that. But they have, because the shows are so limited that they can put on, they're only going to be putting on the fighters that they already have signed to them, contracted to them. So yeah, unless hopefully the COVID situation does change, and we can get more open, more shows, and then that'll suit me better anyway going forward. So yeah, I really do hope everything opens up again, because it's difficult enough times for I think for MMA in Ireland at the moment with the way it is. It's difficult to train properly and everything. The gyms are closed, so it's not a great situation. So I'm hoping in December now we drop from this level 5 to somewhere lower anyway, that can open up training and fighting again. So, but I don't know what's happening with this COVID situation. It's open. It fluctuates all the time. I don't know. I can't predict anything myself. So whatever. See how it goes.
And how have you found training yourself, training for this fight? Like in terms of obviously sparring partners or sparring could potentially be out the window and stuff like that. So how have you found it?
Well, that's one of the benefits that I have, in that my family are closely involved. So even in the house, I have my little weights station where I've been doing my working out and running, and we have access to the gym as well if I need to. We've got bags there and stuff, and they can. My family will even catch pads. Like I say, my sister is only 17, but she's quite good at catching pads at this stage, so she can catch for me as well. So all that stuff is really useful, I think, for me. That's why the COVID situation I haven't found it particularly bad, even though I know it's not great for the Irish MMA scene in general. But for me, I think I've actually improved over this period, just by being focused and having all this time and this little bit extra time where everything else has kind of been put on the back burner for a bit, because there's not much going on apart from self-isolating and quarantine and all this stuff. So it just allows you to focus on yourself a little bit more. So I'm hoping that I can show that I've actually improved over this fairly strange year. But that will only have been possible because my family are so involved in the sport, and they can help me train even when everything else is kind of messed up at the moment.
Yeah. I suppose outside of this, outside the last couple of months, what would your kind of training schedule look like? Do you have to balance? I don't know. Do you have to balance college or work with training, or have you been a full-time fighter or anything like that?
So I study history in Trinity College, just single honors history. So I'm in my third year in that at the moment. So usually I'll be bouncing back between training and Trinity and history. I feel like studying history, the reason I chose to study history is just because I have an interest in it, and I wanted to actually enjoy my college years and come out with a degree after 4 years' time. So basically, yeah, I want to get that degree anyway, and then we'll see what happens with that. I'll push for a pro career, but it doesn't last forever. So having that degree there as something to fall back on is really important to me as well. So I have been putting a good bit of effort into my college work as well. So yeah, like I said, I'm in third year now. At the moment, everything's online. All my essays are online. All my lectures are online. So that's fine. I just come onto my laptop, do that, and then I can train straight away after, train before. So that suits me at the moment. But usually I'll be going into Trinity, coming back and training, twice a day. Hopefully, once or twice a day, most days of the week. Just I've always been training since I've been 16. So it's part of my routine. Like you were saying, there's a time in the house where most people will go to the gym in my household. So it's just part of my routine, to be honest. So I just fit college and training around it. I find it it's going pretty well. So I've got 1.5 more years in college, and then have got my degree, and I'll be pro as well at the same time. So like I said, I'll probably leave that degree sitting there for a while, pursue that pro dream, and then we'll see what that degree is up to in a few years' time, maybe.
Yeah, it's handy, I suppose. Yeah, like there's a balance there, a good balance there that for you.
Yeah, I found it works well. Everything's gone well. I like studying and then training and studying and training and stuff. And now I still have fair enough amount of free time where I can enjoy myself as well. So happy enough with the way things are going at the moment. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so what does training kind of look up in terms of, like, I suppose, the amount of strength and condition sessions that you might do to, I suppose, jiu-jitsu sessions or striking sessions, the full MMA sessions? What kind of schedule do you run for that?
So yeah, we'll have classes on throughout the weekend. Someone will be specifically BJJ orientated. Someone will be a bit of a Muay Thai class. Someone will be wrestling, and then a full MMA sessions there. Obviously, really important considering that's what we're actually doing. So they'll be throwing in quite a lot. And like you say, strength and conditioning, physical work. They'll be once a day, out running and all. A lot of the time keeping the fitness up. So yeah, that's mainly what my schedule. It's quite broad, it's MMA. That's the mad thing about MMA. Really, it's just there's just so much to learn in it. It's very hard to say to yourself, I have everything covered, because the sport is just constantly evolving, and you have new stuff to learn all the time. So I'll be rotating between full MMA. I'll be doing boxing. I'll be doing Muay Thai, K1, no-gi, grappling, wrestling, fitness, weights, the whole lot. Yeah, that's alternating all the times to keep it from being, you know, monotonous or whatever. I like to mix things up a lot, but it's pretty. I enjoy it. You know, I'm enjoying the process at the moment, and you know, like I say, ready to go pro and really go after it. So yeah, that's the crack.
Do you have somebody that looks after your strength and conditioning for you, or are you looking after that yourself for the moment, or is there a plan to
For the
maybe?
moment, yeah, for the moment, it's just myself, to be honest. Just training, you know, lifting weights and doing following like kind of online these like plans, you know, strength and conditioning plans to build muscle and stuff. But I haven't put too much effort into the strength and conditioning because there's so much technique to learn from MMA. So that's mostly the focus, really. Most of the time I'll be doing technique, rounds, sparring, drilling to just constantly improve. That's mainly my how I train. But then you know, physicality is just so important. If you have all the technique but you miss out on the physicality, it can cost you. So I have definitely, especially this year, now that we have this you know, spare time where there's not much you know, sparring partners and stuff are, you know, they're lacking at the moment because of this social isolation and quarantine. There's more time to put into yourself. So yeah, I've been working a lot on my physicality over the last year, doing weights, running, calisthenics, all that stuff. So yeah, I feel particularly strong at the moment because that was one of the things that I think, you know, might have contributed to some of my losses when I was younger. You know, when I was only just 18 and I was fighting, or even 16 when I was fighting adults. So the physicality might not have been there. You know, they might have had that little bit more strength from being that few years older. And now I think I've really filled out, and I'm 22 now, and I think I'll have that physicality as well as the skill set I've picked up. And I think that will really show now when I go pro, and I have that strength as well as the skills and the focus and the determination that I've shown I have over the last few years. I think, you know, it's gonna be really successful. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully, win a few fights now, and see where that takes me next year.
Yeah, I suppose that is the thing with the strength and conditioning. Like you said, it's MMA you're doing. Like, so the strength and conditioning is some, I suppose, nearly supplemental training. It's, you know, or, you know, the main stuff. But what's interesting, you say that you felt physicality was a thing, because last week, Damien Darker was on, and he comes from a K1 background, and he was kind of similar. 17, 18 was fighting men in their 20s and 30s, and he kind of said he felt the same at that time, that he didn't have the man strength, but he slowly felt like around 22, 23, like he felt like that he kind of just grew into it, that he felt physically as strong as everybody else. Do you kind of feel something similar yourself? Like, have you felt yourself getting maybe stronger, I suppose, and building up that man strength along with the physicality, along with your, I suppose, the help of strength and conditioning training?
Yeah, 100%. That's similar to what I think similar to what Damien said there. You know, that man strength is a thing. You know, when you're 16, 17, 18, you can feel it. Like, sometimes I think against some of the older men that you're fighting, but now like you're saying, 22, I feel like, yeah, I've grown that. I've just hit that like level of like strength that I won't feel that pressure anymore, and I'll be able to just have my technique will show through, because there won't be that kind of disparity between strength and my opponent. So yeah, that's my plan anyway, is to show that I have that strength now, that physicality that I might have been lacking when I was younger, when I was fighting when I was only 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 100%. That's Damien Dagger. It's the same thing. That's what I found, the same thing as him.
Yeah. So, like, for this upcoming fight, do you think it's gonna? Do you think it's what? Do you think it could? There's a possibility it could get called off, because you're kind of sounding like, you know, sometimes you're kind of like you're not too sure. Like,
yeah, I really do hope it goes ahead. It's just that I've had two cancellations this year already, you know, and that's why I haven't allowed my hopes to get up. Like, sure, one of the first fight that I had cancelled, it was cancelled on weigh-in day. I was weighing in. It was the day of the weigh-in when it was cancelled.
that was the Cage Legacy show, was it?
Cage Legacy in March.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to fight Cage Legacy in November, just there last week, or I was supposed to fight, and that was cancelled about 2 weeks before. So yeah, things are quite difficult and uncertain at the moment. So I don't want to allow myself to get too you know, hopeful, you know, and then have my hopes dashed. But yeah, I think Clonmores, I think they're doing it a good way. They're doing like a pay-per-view live stream, so that's gonna try and support. That's gonna allow them to have the money to put it on without having any fans there. So I think they're going about it the right way, and hopefully it'll work. So I'm actually fairly optimistic it will go ahead. I just don't want to be 100% say that it will, you know, in case it doesn't. But I think they're doing it the right way, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And are you going to have to enter a bubble and with tested and all this sort of stuff? Is that going to happen, or have you got kind of word on the way that's going to work yet?
Yeah, I haven't got too much word on that. They're very professional in Clonmore. So if there is anything they need to do, like self isolation and COVID tests and stuff, I'm sure they will be doing all that. You know, in the near future, because they seem very professional. You know, in the way they're on about. That's one of the reasons why I think that it will go ahead because of how professional they're doing. So I haven't got any word on if I need to, you know, if there's any self isolations or anything like that we need to do. But you know, if we need to, I'm sure they'll let us know, because they seem quite professional. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I suppose just before we finish up, I tend to ask everybody, if you had to pick a favorite fighter to watch, who would you pick? It could be an MMA fighter, it could be a boxer, it could be, I suppose, any sport. But if you had to pick somebody that you enjoy watching yourself, who would it be?
Well, only recently this week, I ended up watching Katie Taylor fighting there, and I just think, you know, she's a phenomenal fighter, like a phenomenal athlete from Ireland. You know, just she's incredibly good. Like, but the way she carries herself as well outside the cage, you know, or outside the ring, in her case, she's so humble and so you know, so well spoken. And all. I'd like to emulate that myself. You know, just kind of I'm not extremely, you know, I'm not an extremely outgoing guy, so I want to be able to let my skills in the cage show for me rather than speak so much outside the cage. And Kay does a really good job of that, because she's you know, 6-time European champion or world champion, you know, gold medalist in the Olympics, and then unified world champion 17-0, I think, as a professional boxer, something like that. And you know, she's just so humble and so you know, just down to earth. But she's an incredible fighter. Like, you know, she really puts on a show when she's in the ring. So yeah, she'd be someone I'd like to emulate. In terms of MMA, one of the fighters that I like their style and like how they fight is Dustin Poirier. He's fighting McGregor in January. He's a southpaw. I'm a southpaw. McGregor's a southpaw as well, and I think, you know, McGregor's you know, incredibly good fighter. I'm really looking forward to that fight myself. I just like the way Dustin fights. He's a similar height to me, similar build, and he's exciting and a southpaw. So I like his style. I like watching him fight, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to him fighting McGregor. Like, it's a really good matchup, I think. So yeah, that's two fighters that I particularly like to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, both of them are kind of similar actually as well, in terms of they don't, I suppose, they're both really humble. You know, the way they carry themselves could be quite similar. You know, Dustin doesn't talk too much shit.
No,
like,
he doesn't.
Really, and like I said, Katie Taylor, I think they even said it on like the commentator said it, or whoever was working the show said, like, there's nobody who has met Katie Taylor and they said they don't like her. You know, everybody says she's sound. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, she's a nice person. She's, you know, sound out. And I think that kind of says a lot, that if you can't find just anybody who says a bad word about her when they meet her, like, that says a lot about her as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I'd like to emulate that. I'd like to, you know, I always want everyone to think that I'm, you know, a cool guy and, you know, nice guy, as well as a you know, top fighter. And she, you know, she doesn't, you know, she gets on with everyone. Everyone thinks she's sound, but she really shows when she fights that she's dangerous and really skillful. And that's kind of how I want to do it. I want to be really, you know, really skillful, really exciting, you know, devastating in the cage, but then, you know, lovely, nice guy down to earth outside the cage. That's the plan anyway. So hopefully I've done that so far in my career, 29 fights, and yeah, hopefully continue it going. Like I say, yeah, Dustin is similar. He seems like a really cool guy, and then he fights, you know, he's so exciting, and so he's a really cool style. So yeah, that's probably why I enjoy watching them fight, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Two good picks. Like, definitely, I'm not sure Katie Taylor's been said before. Dustin definitely has been said before. So two good picks there. But yeah, like that. I think we'll wrap it up. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Thanks a million for coming on. I've really enjoyed the chat and hearing your story, where you've come from, and hopefully, like you said, hopefully the fight will happen in a couple of weeks, and then next year into the pro scene. So yeah.
Right. Thanks very much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, take care, man. All the best and best of luck.